I don't even fully identify what the Democratic Party is anymore. It's not recognizable to me.
I'm kind of rethinking my thinking, and I do think that maybe it's time for the Democrats to do a little bit of this postmortem. I intend myself, what little I can do, to try to do that more.
So today we got to talk about it. The ladies of The View finally admitting to being wrong, taking a step back, reevaluating what they said in the past and saying, you know what, it's time for change. Now, me, honestly, I don't believe they hold these values that they said they're going to try to work on, because I honestly just believe it's the media saying, we lost a lot of money. The people do not trust in the media anymore. We got to do something different. So they have their propagandists and their media pundits now running towards the middle. Look at Charlemagne, look at Stephen A. Smith, look at Van Jones, and now the ladies of The View, all running towards the center. To me, it's to show these people don't have a soul. They don't have a backbone. But nevertheless, let's get into it.
But then I'm kind of rethinking my thinking, and I do think that maybe it's time for the Democrats to do a little bit of this postmortem, because the Democratic Party has always been the party of the working class, has always been. If you look at all the policies, they're for the people. And I think even myself, as someone who grew up in abject poverty from the Bronx, my parents lived paycheck to paycheck. They had to decide whether or not they were going to feed me or whether or not we were going to have heat. And I remember that. And I think I missed the boat in terms of realizing that there are so many Americans that still have that experience that I grew up with and that members of my family grew up with. And so it is up to those of us who remember how that feels or who cares about that to reach out and say, come back, we can help you. And I intend myself, what little I can do, to try to do that more.
Yeah, you definitely missed the boat. We left you on that woke island. And I want to urge the people, the American people, actually, that do not fall for this BS. That's all it is. You know, they're running to the center, trying to be able to pull you back in so they could once again manipulate you just a little bit more when they actually need it again. They had noticed, hey, when you go woke, you go broke. That's what their bosses have now said. Because if, you know, these people that were saying, hey, you shouldn't talk to your family members during the holidays if they voted for Trump. You shouldn't have a Thanksgiving with them. You should isolate yourself and denounce your family members if they voted for Trump, if they didn't believe in the same ideology that you believe, rather than sitting down and talking with them.
Push, I think, just a societal norm that if somebody is your family, that they are entitled to your time. And I think the answer is absolutely not. So if you are going into a situation where you have family members, where you have close friends who you know have voted in ways that are against you, like what you said, against your livelihood, and it's completely fine to not be around those people and to tell them why, you know, to say, I have a problem with the way that you voted because it went against my very livelihood, and I'm not going to be around you this holiday. I need to take some space for me.
I completely understand her point, because I really do feel that this candidate, President-elect Trump, is just a different type of candidate. From the things he's said and the things he's done and the things he will do, it's more of a moral issue for me. And I think it's more of a moral issue for other people. We're just, I would say it was different when, let's say, Bush got elected. You know, you may not have agreed with his policies, but you didn't feel like he was a deeply flawed person, deeply flawed by character, deeply flawed in morality.
Like a lot of Dems called him deeply flawed and humanized him.
But you got to admit, they're very different figures. I mean, you along with Milley and along with John Kelly warned us about how deeply flawed he was as a candidate. And so I think when people feel that someone voted not only against their families, but against them and against people that they loved, I think it's okay to take a beat.
I don't have to like him to respect the voters.
Yeah,
if it meant not seeing your children?
I appreciate the voters, but I will say, somebody who tells me that my child is wrong because of how he or she feels, that tells me that they shouldn't be allowed to be who they are with my permission, I have to question it. I don't want to put my kid in that position.
Exactly.
I don't want to put my gay child in a position where she has to sit with someone who doesn't understand her and feels like it's okay to just blurt all that out. That's just me.
These are the same people. Now they want to come and say, I missed the boat. I mean, I'm all for grace. Don't get me wrong. But for these people in particular who has the resources, millionaires, who has not only just the resources, are actually in the mix and bump shoulders with the people that they are actually talking about. Remember, Trump was on The View before. Remember that Trump was beloved by the Democratic Party before he announced that he was going to be a Republican. But these people switched on him. These people call him a racist. These people compare him to Hitler. These people told you that you was stupid. These people told you that you was uneducated. These people told you that, hey, your pockets and how you feed your family and what you go through on a daily basis is not important. We have something bigger in hand, and that's men being in the girls' restroom. Remember, this is Sonny Holson, who advocate for men playing in women's sports. And she think that's okay. So I want to urge the people to be wary about, like, we're not falling for this BS. Don't fall for this BS. Don't trust none of all these people that was out here before saying, hey, Donald Trump, January 6th, it's the worst thing. Like 9/11 didn't happen. Like, keep that in mind. Don't fall for the trick bag.
He quotes, I forgot the exact quote, but he said something about how it's become the party of college professors and, you know, like it's this removed group of highly educated. And I think the conversations around that, because the people on the other side were voting for Donald Trump, oftentimes those voters were kind of put in a bucket of not being smart and spoken down to. So I think it's a strange thing because I don't even fully identify what the Democratic Party is anymore. It's not recognizable to me.
I do think it was trade deals feeling like America's being taken advantage of, and it affects the jobs that are largely working class and more industrial based, agriculture driven. And it was the border. It's not because they're like, oh, I'm nervous that somebody's going to come take my job. It's they know that big corporations take advantage of cheap labor, and those people are going to get employed while they're struggling to make ends meet. And I just want to say one thing, because Fetterman said something so interesting on the show we never discussed. I've used the term, Donald Trump's a convicted felon. I can't support that. But I think a lot of this country feels like we put people in a box if they're a convicted felon, even if they served their time, they paid their debt to society.
And we think it's got to be gone
and we think that they shouldn't be able to get ahead. And I actually think that backfired for Democrats. I think that didn't like the name call.
Nah, I disagree with her with saying that people wasn't afraid that they would lose their job to these illegal immigrants. Even off of the simple fact of what she just said next, that people was afraid that business owners, if I'm not mistaken, that's what she said, would replace them with cheap labor of these illegal immigrants. I mean, this was happening all across the board in these sanctuary cities with some of these business owners, especially in Ohio, where you had these factory workers being replaced by these Haitians that came into the country illegally for cheap labor. Now, do they probably work harder? Maybe they do. Do they have better character? I don't know. I think that's a case by case situation, but I do understand the business side of it. Hey, more hours, cheap labor, bigger profit. But my question would be to those business owners is, what happened to your loyalty to America? You selling your own countryman out for profit. Is profit literally more important in your eyes than your loyalty to America that's allowing you to create your business and flourish? Is that more important to you? Selling out your countrymen and leading them to find out how they're going to put food on their table, is that profit more important to you? Because me, I feel like that should be illegal and it's disloyal in itself. I mean, I talked to people who came into this country the correct way. And when you talk to them, you ask them, hey, how do you feel about this political landscape and how all of these illegal immigrants is coming into the country and also getting handouts? They'd be irate. They didn't like it not one bit. And I feel like the Democrat dropped the ball in that case, not realizing that a lot of Americans was not for that. We needed a system where they come in the correct way and they are not getting handouts. It was a girl that I know, and I told this story before. She was crying, boo-hoo crying, because she wasn't able to get food stamps. So she'd be able to help put food on the table for her kids. And when she realized Hey, I'm paying back taxes. Why when I go to my government, I'm not able to get help at all? But these people could come in here illegally and get help when I'm the one funding the help that they are getting. What did they do to deserve it? I helped build this country with my tax dollars. Boo-hoo crying. But nevertheless, let's get back into it.
They say that. They say, if we find out something, we'll let you know. But I don't know if they will.
I absolutely think the government knows what's going on. I don't hate that they're not telling us, because I actually think my theory is, and this is not educated or academic, is that they are testing technology for a time when we could need it. And I actually, because when you think about it, drones, these
That's
are
very doomsday, Sarah.
Well, they can go up to like $1 million. These drones are not cheap.
Yeah.
So someone with a lot of
They're
money.
not the Christmas gift drones?
No. Those are not. But I think that they can do infrared. They can do a lot of things looking down. And I think they might be scanning and testing things. And I don't want them telling us, because then they tell the world.
So it is very likely that there is a plausible explanation, and my guess would be it's like a defense contractor that's authorized by the government to do it. But the answering and the explanations is driving me nuts. So you have Mayorkas saying, we're on it. Well, what are you on? Because you can't tell us what it is. Chuck Schumer saying you shouldn't have to shake an 8-ball for an answer. And then the joint FBI and DHS statement saying there's no evidence of a security risk at this time. That's doing a lot of work at this time. People are a little bit, it's a little eerie looking.
You know what? I agree. It's hard for me to believe the military, with the budget that they have, that they don't know what's going on. The technology that they're always bragging about and leading with, that they don't know what's going on with these drones. It's just so hard and impossible for me to believe that the United States do not have a lick of sense of what's going on with these drones. The Pentagon came out talking about something. Oh, we don't know, blah, blah, blah. This ain't the enemies, but this, we don't know right now. That's a goddamn lie.
These are not U.S. military drones. Again, this is being investigated by local law enforcement. What our initial assessment here is that these are not drones or activities coming from a foreign entity or adversary.
You're telling me we don't know what the hell these drones are in New Jersey are? Is that correct?
That's right.
It's crazy. I mean, that's crazy. That's madness that we don't know what these drones are.
You know, I'm going to play a clip of Trump saying that they absolutely know. And now that you've seen this clip, you don't think that he got a briefing on it? Of course he got a briefing on it. He's the upcoming president. But I also agree, I don't think they should tell the American people, because it's going to do the same thing it did with COVID. Everybody going to be running to get toilet tissue. So keep it to yourself. I was having a conversation the other day. Somebody asked me, you been keeping up with the drones? I was like, I mean, yeah. He said, man, why they ain't telling us? I said, I don't think they should. People not going to come to work. It's going to crash the economy for no reason. Because guess what? We can't do nothing about it. People are going to begin to live in fear for no reason about things that they cannot really control. We as citizens don't got the weapon. We see the technology that's going on. What we going to do? Going to put our head in the dirt? So no, I don't agree that they should tell us, because whether they tell us or not, I don't believe, me personally, things going to change. If you was going to be prepared, you already been prepping. You would have already been stocking up food. You would have already been having some toilet tissue, extra toilet tissue, which is just craziness. So you would already have preserved water. You would have already been doing those things. So I don't think, they should tell us, because all it's going to do is send people in fear. Let's get back into it.
If you're house hunting, apparently there's new tech startup platform that tells you the political affiliations of your potential new neighbors. Plus, I guess some real estate professionals believe that this could influence buyers more than the conditions of the home. Oh. And I think that is not a good idea, because number one, it's none of your business. And number two, it just fosters more division.
Yes. And to pretend that our divisions are just political is the best part, because jerks come in every political affiliation.
I thought I'd never be saying this, but in this case, man, I agree with Whoopi. I guess this is a prime example of the broken clock being right twice a day. And today should be that broken clock. And I will agree. I simply think this is an invasion of privacy. I mean, simply off the fact that when you go vote, you got the shutters on the side that blocks out and make this thing a private event for you and who you decide to go vote for? Why publicize that to the world? I mean, it's a private matter. I mean, in my case, me personally, I knew what was going on in my neighborhood. All I seen was Harris and Walls signs everywhere. I ain't put up a sign because I didn't even want it to be out there for now my neighbors to look at me and say, you know what, I'm not going to help him if somebody go kick in his door. I'm not going to call the police if his house, or the fire people if his house burning down. I'm not going to do this, that, and the third for him. I'm not going to look out for him in the neighborhood watch. I'm going to let whatever happened to him happen to him. So this can cause a lot of confrontation. Like she said, there's lunatics in both parties. Who knows? Somebody, the fear that the Democrats was pushing amongst their people, and them saying that, hey, we got to do something about these people, these MAGA people, or these people that voted for Trump. Who knows? These people could go crazy. Oh, this is a neighborhood of Republicans. Let's go burn it down to the ground. Let's go do this, that, and the third. You don't want to give anybody like that any ammunition. You know what I'm saying? I just think it's discussing the invasion of privacy. It just seems like America is just moving towards less privacy each and every day. And it's disgusting. I think our government should do something, or our state government should do something about that. We're keeping who we vote for private. And if we decide to share it, then we share it. But I shouldn't see a map saying, oh, he Republican, he Democrat, he's this, he's that, he voted for Trump, she voted for Kamala. Nah, that's bullshit.
Right, we're seeing some really interesting trends in a lot of key battleground states. Let's start with Pennsylvania with its coveted 19 electoral votes. And I want to focus for a moment on Erie County up here. This is a crucial swing county. It goes Trump in 2016, narrowly back to Biden in 2020. Now I want to go in even further than that. This right here, this is Mill Creek Township, District 2. Polls are showing momentum toward Harris in areas like this. But to really understand what's going on, let's go even closer, zoom in a little bit more. Right here, right here. This is 114 Hilltop Lane. Now I want to take us inside the bedroom here. Bear with me. There we go. So this is Nick Camden, 37-year-old registered independent. He goes Hillary in 2016, Trump in 2020. Which way is he going to go in 2024? Really hard to say at this point. It's pretty early, but we know it's going to be close.
And Jason, what are you seeing inside this person that might indicate movement one way or another?
So this is just a very ordinary Rust Belt body, small town values, predominantly white. It's got the lungs, it's got the vascular system, the heart. But I actually want to show you what's in here. This is the neocortex and the amygdala. These are areas of the brain responsible for regulating emotion and memory. So let's play out a couple of scenarios here. If, for example, this man remembers his grandmother and the time she took him to an Al Gore rally in 1999, feels good about that, that's a win for the Democrats. On the other hand, take a look at this. This is the area of the brain that's associated with...
But I mean, I digress, man. I got to get to work. Hey, y'all tell me what you guys think in the comment section. Remember, you are me, I'm you. We're one of the same body. Remember, keep your head up, keep your nose clean. You say the world, you live forever. Hey, don't fall for that bullshit with these people running to the center. Because all they're going to do is manipulate you again. That's it. That's all I got.